Super Smash Brothers! Go!
Merci beaucoup, c'est gentil. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
All right. Now the adventure continues. Okay, welcome back to the tour. We are in Nice, France, after I spent about a month in Spain and Portugal combined. Now headed to Italy for the final leg of my tour. Some things have changed due to the accident in France and certain social conflicts throughout the world, so I've had to adjust my route a little bit, but we're gonna do Italy and spend some quality time there, and I am more than satisfied with the amount I've seen, and I look forward to coming back and seeing the rest sometime in the future. But this is our Spain recap. So I left Bordeaux with a brand new bike and headed towards San Sebastian, one of the first big cities there, and I spent the night on a cliff in my tent overlooking the ocean. Went for a beautiful walk on the beach, had breakfast on the beach the next day, and watched some surfers. Then I moved along the coast westwards, kind of stopping at various little towns and villages, and setting up my tent along the way. Around halfway along the northern coast, I dipped into the mainland a little bit, into the Picos de Europa, which is a mountain range on the northern coast, and spent a couple days there, and the climate changed drastically. The weather got a lot colder, and there was fog every morning, but absolutely beautiful. I went on a couple of hikes to the peak, where you could see the ocean and the mountains. So you're kind of surrounded by both. And at that campsite, I ran into Sally and Roger and their dog Bob from Wales. And they invited me to a drink in the restaurant there, and we talked a little bit about life, and they were traveling across Spain in a camper van. And after talking for a while and we had a few drinks, they invited me back to their camper van to have food, to have dinner with them. And we talked until around midnight, so the entire evening away with some delicious food that Sally had prepared, and we cooked some chicken on the barbecue. Over the next couple of days, I would stop at various different campsites, and Sally and Roger would show up a few hours later, and so we spent about a week kind of meeting up at campsites and seeing the different sites locally, and having lots of food and good conversation. And eventually, once we got to Santiago de Compostela on the western coast, or near the western coast of Spain, we parted ways. In Santiago de Compostela, on the way there along the highway, you see hundreds of backpackers and travelers. There's a famous pilgrimage that they're doing that starts in a couple different places. One is in San Sebastian, one is in France. So people walk from 30 to 60 days to Santiago de Compostela, to this famous church where St. James, one of Christ's disciples, is supposed to be buried. I had a couple wonderful conversations with those people, and it was quite interesting to hear all the stuff they'd done on foot. I said goodbye to Sally and Roger and headed into Portugal, into Porto and a few smaller towns along the western coast, and I did stick mainly to the coastline as much as I could, and really just took a lot of time just to relax and sit on the beach and sit in the forest and kind of just be at peace with life. I wasn't going out of my way to do too many things, and I did eventually get to Lisbon, which is the capital of Portugal, and I went to the aquarium there, and I met John and Renata. Same thing that happened with Roger and Sally. We kind of kept bumping into each other throughout the day, and I saw them at the aquarium, and then on the promenade, and then at a castle. So eventually they recommended a place to eat for dinner, and as I was walking around the square trying to find it, he tapped me on the shoulder, and we met up, and they brought me dinner, which was really sweet, and we had some more conversation, and they were only in Portugal for a couple days, so they had lots to see, but I continued on from there to the southernmost point of Portugal, and it was incredibly warm. We had some plus 28 and 29 days. In November, you gotta remember, so it's winter here, but still gorgeous weather in a lot of places. I stayed there on a campsite, and as kind of a birthday present to myself, I decided to jump out of an airplane at 15,000 feet, and the only other person doing it was Nikki, a lovely mother who was doing the same thing as me. Wanted to do something kind of crazy, so we both jumped out of the airplane, and like nothing I've ever done before, and definitely something that I would do probably every single day for the rest of my life if I could. But after we jumped, we had a really nice, we had a celebratory coffee, and she invited me to lunch with a friend of hers, and I was happy to oblige. You notice a trend here, people just keep buying me food, and I would be silly to refuse. And after lunch with her, we went to her father's villa in Portugal, which was absolutely beautiful. He has orange trees in the backyard and a pool, and it's just a beautiful, very authentic Portuguese villa. That evening we went to dinner with some more of her friends and talked politics and investing and lots of lovely things to discuss. And I spent a few more days then in that area of Portugal before my time there was up, and I headed back into Spain to try and get to Valencia for my birthday. I was a little worried that I might have to spend my birthday completely alone. For those of you who don't know, I have a twin sister, Montana, whom I love very much, and we haven't ever been apart on our birthday in our entire lives. So,
the day before my birthday, I arrived in Valencia. And I was setting up my tent, and I was kind of thinking about how I'm going to be alone for my birthday, and the thought of that was making me a little bit sad. And no sooner had I set up my tent than a gentleman came up and saw my license plate was German, and he started talking to me in German and asked me about the bike and about my trip, and he was telling me a couple things, and he found out it was my birthday the next day, and he said to swing by his camper van next evening. So after I spent my birthday in the city of Valencia at the aquarium and walking around, I went over, and Roman, he had a cake, coffee, and even a present for me. And we spent the evening talking. and I found out that he has done so many amazing things in his life. He made my birthday a million times better than it already was.
A really wonderful birthday, and I was able to Skype with Montana, so we were together once again with our birthday traditions. After my birthday, I was heading towards Barcelona when I was heading to what? Who put a laugh track here? Marty.
What?
What are you doing?
I wanted to be part of your video.
Stop.
But I really wanted to.
No, stop. Jeez, don't need a laugh track. Anyway, so I headed to Barcelona, and I had booked an Airbnb there because there were no campsites nearby, and as I was touring the Sagrada de Familia, which is a really famous church in Barcelona, I got a call from Airbnb saying for my own safety I had to leave the residence that I was at. So naturally I was a little bit worried, and so I packed up all my stuff really quickly, and what Airbnb did was they had gotten a report on bed bugs at the place that I was staying, and they decided to not let anyone stay there for safety, and so they booked me a hotel nearby, which I went to, and it turned out to be a 4-star hotel with a jacuzzi and a huge room and a terrace and a delicious breakfast, and from a room with no windows to a 4-star hotel. So that was nice, and that was my last experience in Spain. And you can check out some of the off-the-bike footage through Spain and France, including my jump out of an airplane right here. One thing I want to take away from Spain, one thing that really hit me in Spain and in Portugal was how happy the people there are. You know, and a lot of them are living with just very basic things when you think about it. You know, a lot of them don't even use internet or computers, and they just they go every day to the market to get their groceries, and it's all so simple, and they just have this sense of community and togetherness, and everyone is always looking out for each other, and you know, I can't think of a time in Spain or Portugal that I felt that anyone was rude to me, or that I felt unsafe, because everyone was just so welcoming. So yeah, so focused on a community. It's really beautiful. I will talk to you guys very soon again. I love you. Mwah.